Hey everybody, MT with MT's Daily Poppin' Pills, and talking about the events of the day or what's going on. I got something I want to talk to you guys about, and I touched on this last year in one of my videos about what the Democrats did or are doing. And it caught a lot of flack last year when it was announced that they were going to make everybody so every transaction that you have out there, if you do sell something over $600, you got to report it. People that are making tips, waiters, waitresses, drivers, all kinds of people that kind of work in that industry. You know, if you're buying and selling something on the side and it goes through Venmo or PayPal, all this is getting reported, and you will get a K-1099, and you don't even know what that is. But the IRS is going to be sending out like 35 million. So why did they hire all these IRS? Why are they wanting to hire all these IRS agents and stuff to go after what? The big, tax cheaters on top there, the rich, right? It's such a ruse, such a ruse. They've been setting this up, and this is what the Democrats do. They lure all these poor people in the middle class and thinking that what they're doing is good for them. And not that the Republicans are doing anything good either, because they're both a bunch of corporation, Republicans and Democrats. This is why we need third-party people and get these other people out of there, because it's just crazy how they're destroying our country. I don't care if you're Trump or Biden, they're destroying our country. So, I want to talk about the American Rescue Act of Plan Act of 2021. This was signed into law by Joe Biden on March 11, 2021. It's a comprehensive 1.9 trillion. That's trillion. Remember we talked about that in the last couple of videos. Count to 1 to a trillion. It's going to take you thousands of years to get to that 1, 2, 3. It's a lot of money. But it was an economic stimulus plan. And of course, it was enacted by the 117th Congress, which was all Democrats during that time. But what was it supposed to do? Well, it was supposed to give you COVID relief and healthcare support that was aimed to bolster the nation's response to the pandemic and the expand healthcare coverage. And of course, the economic assistance for families and workers. This included impact payments and enhanced child tax credit, various funds to assist families and workers affected by the COVID-19 crisis. It was also there to help state and local governments, help them out with counties, cities, tribal governments, and it was there to help out with expenditures such as replenish lost revenue, mitigate economic harm resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. This all sounds good. Hey, rah rah, we're helping out the Indians, the counties, the small rural places, right? But it was also there to have continuation, expansion of previous programs. See, what was it? The CARES Act, Consolidated Appropriations Act, that includes introducing new phases, allocations, and guidance to address the ongoing challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's just fancy words for giving free money to the rich and all those other people. Kind of like those loans. Over 70% went to corporations with over $30 million. The little guys, that's why all these restaurants, all these small businesses, done, shuttered. We lost over 3 million small businesses during COVID, and none of them are coming back. So, what are we talking about here? So what happened is, back in the day, the IRS had a thing called the Bank Secrecy Act, and I'm sure we all heard about it. If you had something, if you put money in the bank or you sold something, as long as under $10,000, it didn't get reported to the IRS. No big deal, right? No big deal. But see, Janet Yellen and the Biden and all the Democrats said, "Oh my gosh, we can't have that going on. There's people we're losing out on so much money. We're talking about trillions of dollars and stuff like that." So what'd they do? So they passed this. They passed a policy that instead of going from 10,000, they went to they put this in the new program because they were missing out on $166 billion per year as an institutional misreporting from people, right? We're going to go after the big guys. But what they did is the Democrats were insistent the new provision will not hurt small business owners or those making under $400,000 a year. We've heard that, right? No. But the nonpartisan watchdog community on the taxation reportedly said between 78 and 90% of what the IRS will collect will come from small businesses. 4 and 9% of the revenue collected will come from those making over 500,000. So why is that? Because we're all low-hanging fruit, making less than 400,000. They're going to go after people like making less than 100,000. How many gig workers are out there driving cars or waitresses making 400,000, 500,000 a year? No, they're not, right? There's no way. So the new IRS reporting rule, plan of Act of American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, Joe Biden, Democrats, which lowers the threshold for reporting income on a Form 1099-K. You guys even know what this is? From 200 transactions and $20,000 to just $600 with no minimum transaction. Now, this is going to have several implications for workers like waitresses, waiters, bartenders, and others who earn tips, right? This is what it's going to do. Because, we can't have you little guys making any more money than you should. You got to pay your fair. If you love America, you got to pay your fair share of taxes. But remember, we're going after the big guys, right? Right. So what is this supposed to do? Well, it's supposed to help increase reporting of tip income. Workers who receive a significant portion of their income in tips and use third-party payment platforms like credit card and tip processes through systems like Square, PayPal, etc. Many see more of their income being reported to the IRS since the threshold is now only $600. Even occasional use of these platforms could trigger the reporting requirement. I want to back up though, because what? One thing they did do was when this all came under, Biden and those guys, what they said they would do, initially it was supposed to start in last year on January 31st, 2023, but they did us a favor and they backed it off till 2024. So it's coming this year. And the problem is the IRS says they're going to send out 35 million new 1099-K forms if you bought something over 600, and if you don't submit it, get ready for an audit. So you guys making less than a couple $100,000, how are you going to afford? Do you have have you gone to your personal attorney and personal accountants and asked them all these questions? Well, what they also want to do is make sure during this the new IRS reporting and the Democrats, tax compliance. Lower the threshold means that more workers will need to ensure that their tip income is accurately reported on their tax returns. This could lead to a greater awareness of tax obligations, potentially more accurate reporting of income. Because that waiter and waitresses, when they're making that $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $80 a night in tips, and what are they getting for minimum? They still get paid minimum wage like $3.35. That's a joke, right? But now we got to collect more, and you're getting that tip money. We got to get it. If you share your tips with the busters and stuff, they got to report their money too. Record keeping. Workers will need to be more diligent in keeping records of their earnings, especially if they receive tips through multiple channels. Good record keeping practices will be essential to accurately report income and understand their tax obligations. I gotta watch out. These guys might be coming to my windows, and because they've got guns and ammo and stuff like that. They probably don't like me saying these things. And of course, impact of the tips received through the digital platforms. As more income gets reported, more workers might notice changes in the way customers tip, especially if customers are aware that these tips are being more rigorously tracked and reported. There's more important potential for increased scrutiny. With more income being reported to the IRS, there may be increased scrutiny of reported income and higher likelihood of audits. And I'm not just saying this. This is from the IRS. So you tell me, what are they doing? Are they really hiring more agents to go after the rich guys? Let me take a couple pills. I might have to call Jerry to support Kitty out here in a second. Fire her up. All right. Overall, these changes mean that workers in the service industry who receive tips will need to be more aware of their tax obligations and may need to adjust their financial planning and record-keeping practice to accommodate new reporting requirements. They act like every one of these waitresses and waiters at IHOP or wherever you're working at, wherever you're getting tips or at the bar and stuff like that you've got, you do great financial planning and record keeping. What is that? 1 or 2% of you guys out there, right? I mean, come on, who's got the money and the time? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, which they say now is 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, right? So guess what? Who are these guys going to hire though? Who are they hire? Who's Biden hiring though? They're hiring new IRS agents. Oh, sure, they're for the answering the phone calls and doing things like that. Right? Don't believe that junk. That is absolute junk. So, thanks to the Democrats, more Americans who mow lawns or sell concert tickets and use couches through Venmo or PayPal will have those transactions scrutinized by the IRS starting in January 2024, thanks to lower reporting thresholds for IRS Form 1099-K. Now, once again, this American Rescue Plans Act, with the threshold went from $20,000 to $600. It didn't go up; it went down because anybody making less than $20,000 or more than more over $600, you're getting rich out there. And if you're not paying your money, man, something's wrong. This is what's great. Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith issued the following statement in the response to GAO's report. 30 million more tax forms flowing into the mailboxes across the country will be a New Year's nightmare for millions of Americans and a mess for the IRS. The Biden administration itself had to deploy a legally dubious delay of this policy for a year, precisely because it is unworkable. The whole plan is just another effort by Washington Democrats to use the IRS to target working families. According to the Joint Taxation Committee on Taxation, over 90% of this new tax burden will fall on middle-class families and gig workers who will be caught in the crosshairs of the Democrats' tax scheme. They're doing it again. They sit there and they set you up just like we got that stimulus plan. I talked about that before. I got the stimulus plan. Did you guys get it too? You got that $1,500? But I claimed zero on my taxes. But last year I had to pay over $1,000 more in taxes because I got that stimulus plan they gave me. They got their money back. They're collecting that money back at all of us poor people, right? I'm poor. What's poor anymore? Do you make over or under 75,000? Is that you're scraping by? Because why? They're taking 30-40% of that from your taxes, right? So you're really, if you're making 75, you're probably living off of 48 to 50,000. Seriously, because they're taking that money, right? So, anyways, so what can be done about this? I asked the question, and I was told I raised a valid concern about the accessibility and availability of free tax assistance services, because this is what they're saying that you guys can do. There's volunteer tax assistance programs. There's tax counseling for the elderly, because when all these people on Social Security, they can afford to have all these people because everybody there is making, because all the baby boomers are just absolutely rich, And I can remember Mitt Romney going, well, just go ask your mom or dad for a loan. What happens if you don't have a mom and dad? What happens if your mom and dad are poor? In my case, I don't have a mom or dad or grandparents or aunt or uncles or anybody to go, I'm like most people in America. I was raised by a single mom with 4 kids in the 70s. Not a good time to be a single mom in the 70s. But you can get tax counseling, and there's volunteer income tax. Programs like the VITA program offers free tax help to people who generally earn $60,000 or less, and with disabilities, limited English speakers. But the problem we have here, there's also low-income taxpayer clinics, IRS to go mobile app, and AARP tax aid locations. It goes on, right? But I asked the question, so did all this money from this whole act, did it go to fund more programs to help people out to do that in lower incomes? No. These places are so understaffed, or the people that are running have no clue how to help you, especially now with these 1099-Ks that you're going to get. How are they really going to help you? Just remember, go to your financial planner, because there's limited resources. The availability of these services can vary from location, and there may be fewer resources or clinics available. This can make it more difficult for individuals in certain regions to access the help they need. Capacity. The ratio of professional accountants or taxpayers to individuals needing assistance can be quite high, meaning you're going to have one person to 100,000 people, or 1 to 10,000, right? How is that person going to help you? Is this going to result in longer wait times for assistance or limited time available per individual seeking help? Because you know what? It's your fault that you're poor. It is. That's what they're saying. It's your fault. We all went to Harvard, Yale, and we're getting these, as a congressman or senator or president, we got this inside trading. You guys should be able to do that too. If you did inside trading, you're going to jail. Ask Martha Stewart. If the same Congress people do it, they can't go to jail because it's in the laws that they can't. They can do all insider trading that they want. Awareness and outreach. Many individuals who could benefit from these services are not aware of them or may not know how to access them. That's probably the biggest thing. Outreach and education efforts are crucial in bridging this gap. Well, I can tell you that they didn't put the money in there for people out there to get it done. Just remember, folks, this is happening. January 31st, 2024. Get ready, because what they're going to do is come after you. They're not hiring these tax agents, IRS tax agents, to come after the big guys. Remember, these guys got all those corporations, all those rich guys all have the best accountants, the best financial planners, the best lawyers. You know, what's your lawyer? We're just average Joes. I tell you what, the way this country's going, this is a big hit right here. Just remember the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, signed in by Joe Biden. They stuffed the whole plan in that goes from $20,000 a year or 200 things you sell down to 0 things you sell and 600, because you guys are the ones getting away with this, right? And they try to say, well, we're going to stop the rich guys from doing this. A rich guy doing $20,000 a year, if you're making $400 or $500, what's 20,000? That's nothing. Remember, if you take 240,000 and you divide it by 12, what do you get? 20,000 a month. How many people are making 20,000 a month? Now, if you're making 500,000 or more, that means you're making over $40,000 a month, right? $40,000 a month. And then you get the guys making people yelling about, oh, we got to stop taxing. We don't even tax the rich. All these rich guys don't pay nothing, right? Can you imagine? You know, they don't even, if they pay their fair share. I know last year I paid in, I said $1,000 more, and I'm not making over $75,000 a year. That's crazy talk, right? So, but the guys on top, making $40,000, $50,000 a month at $500,000. What about the guys making millions and millions of dollars? My plan would be this: I'll give you the first 24 million because they're going to take half of that. Because listen, if you can't make it off of $12 million a year, something's wrong with you. That's $50,000 a week. How many people are out there watching my video making $50,000 a week? If you are, man, I could sure use a loan, or how about some free assistance, right? Right, because you know the rich guys get all this stuff on top. They get the better rates. Poor people, you're paying 20, 30, 40% interest rates now. Why? Because they stopped that too. They stopped that act where, you know what, they can't charge more. Those are sharks. Those are guys who are out there. Those are mafia numbers. They made it illegal, but they lifted that so they can charge as much as they want. My gosh. Because why? They're going after the poor. They're destroying the heartbeat of America, which is the people that go in the military. Rich kids don't go in the military. They go to Yale or Harvard or something else. Donald Trump got 4 exemptions while in school. Because why? His dad was a multi-millionaire back then. And then after he got out of school, he got called for a 5th time. And then somehow he had bone spurs, right? You get away with that because you're rich. You get away with that, you're rich, because you're rich. Or if you have drug problems, like if you're drunk, you go to rehab and all stuff like that. No, you know what they did back in my day? They probably did the same thing. You went in the military. That's what I did. You had to go in the military. What was my choices after high school? All right, guys, I'm almost done with my pills here. So please, let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about this. And what can we do? We can try to call you can try to call your representatives and stuff like that and bitch about it. But when do you have the time for that? Write letters, do all those things. All we can do is vote them out and look for independents that are not backed by the corporations and all the big, the big military complex or the big pharma. We got to get rid of those guys, and we got to make one of the worst things which we should. And I will talk about one of the program later on, the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. So I'll leave it right there before I get too crazy and I got to call that emotional support kitty Jerry here. So hey guys, last set of my pills. This is MT with MT's Daily, and what I'm talking about probably is all these people in Congress, the mystery machine. Everybody goes in, they might go in as a normal person, but they come out millionaires, and they're only making only $180,000, $200,000 a year. Whatever. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. This is MT with MT's Daily. Poppin' pills. Have a great night.